Guys, I'm back. So for those of you that actually watch my videos, I'd like to say hi. Thank you for watching my videos. And it means a lot. I've watched back a few of my videos and it hasn't got too many views. So I'm actually trying to leave a few comments around on YouTube telling people, hi guys, I'm a new vlogger. Please come check out my videos and give you honest review about it as well. So I think I'm around 40 plus videos into vlogging on here, so my sort of boring vlogs. And, I wanted to give you a quick story today about my first interest, or first love interest, girlfriend, if you want to say that. So, as you can see, I'm a ladies' man here, and I'm smooth. I'm joking. But, in my days, I've seen my, fair share of, childish love and, the little chase with the butterfly feelings and, just trying to pursue the typical. You look at the older people and you think like, you can replicate that sort of love better than them. So, as kids, we try to do our best. But I wasn't a kid at this time anyway. So I'll dive into the first one, where I think could be some before, but it was around when I was 16. And it was a girl, it's a white girl in my college, and she was in one of my classes. A lot of the guys fancied her, and I did too. So every day I would talk to her in a, not a way that I'm sort of like pursuing her, but make it known that I'm here, and whatever she had to question, anything to do with the schoolwork, college work, and anything about life and any ventures that she'd like to do outside, so any business, I would always like to dibble and dab on that stuff as well, just so I can build connection. So after a few months of being in the class, she was playing around with a few of the guys, and me being the observer from the back of the class, it hurt. Ouch, and I watched and I always like beat myself down, like, when am I gonna be like those guys? Like, years ago as well, in every class I was in, there was always that one girl where the other guys would just be, doing their thing with them. And I'll be the one that's always, envious of, how they could do it, because I've got anxiety. So this goes far back. And so what actually happened was I was showing slight interest in her. And what we actually did was, there was one of the coursework, or assignments at that time, it was a IT class. So I sort of helped out with her work, and she'd, help me out with paragraphs of my assignment and stuff. And then before you know it, a few weeks went by and we started to, exchange a bit more. So we'd talk about basketball, which I was interested in. And in her sense as well, she would just be saying these remarks. When someone's like free and it's not anxious and anything, they'll be saying anything on their mind. And me, I was like, yeah, just taking it all in. And I was like, of course, a bit, happy from the last sort of mood I was in when I used to be around her, because I knew now that I'm getting on something here. So I stayed with her for a bit, and after I think around a month after that, the next step was to get lunch together. So we went down to the canteen, we grabbed the chip cups they did at that time in my college. And then we'd walk around and I was getting those comments from the rest of the guys like, yeah, Ali, is that you? Yeah, when the whole corridor is full, or, the outside of the college, our guys, they roll around in packs and stuff. And you've got anxiety, and now you've got to walk. They're not alone, but with a girl as well. So these times I can barely say anything properly against, to protect myself. But please don't picture me as someone that will be like, people just say whatever, push me around. No. I mean, and it's in the sense as, when you're put in the spotlight, especially in a crowded situation and everyone's attention just goes on to you, I'll be feeling the anxiety and nervousness a lot more than the other person. But I'll still be trying my best, so still twisting and turning. But anyways, I was walking down the corridor with her, and the people would just be saying their little things here and there. And it was, a little bit anxiety inducing, because now I'm looking around, I'm looking at her, I'm looking, my, what do you call it? My guard and my senses, everything was on my tiptoes. Literally, I was thinking on the spot so fast. Anyways, we walked around college. We'd sit around the benches, and then one day we left outside of college. We went to a park, and we're just playing around. Pushing each other. That little childish stuff. I'll be putting her in a headlock, and then she'd be doing her own little thing. And then went to a park. We were talking, and then just started to get intimate. And as a adolescent boy at that time, 16 years old, I'm not gonna lie to you, my fantasies were going with me, but at the same time I was putting my senses back, like cautious, and at the same time I was wrestling with anxiety as well. So we'd be on the park, we'd be talking about a lot of random stuff, and we'd just be getting close, stuff like that, and nothing really happened. Yeah, unfortunate for my 16-year-old self. Both fortunate and unfortunate, but nothing happened. And after being there about an hour-ish, we made our way back, and I was contemplating life, and just like what am I made of? Why can't I do this? Is that like I know the other guys are going to be thinking like because as a 16-year-old you're going to be thinking of what other people are going to think of the situation you were just in. So it's a whole thinking mess. So I went back to college and I was thinking like, just wasting my time, this is that. You're thinking of crazy things at these times. So it's nothing like the way I'm thinking now anywhere near it, because I'm full of hormones, and I'm trying to satisfy both my ego and my peers. So as I went back to college, I was looking around, and I saw my friends playing basketball. I joined them, and as I looked at the girl, I don't want to disclose her name here, so I'm actually going to be watching my videos, but I looked at her, I was like, yeah, see you later. Didn't want to see her again, she wasted my time. I went to the guys and I told them like, yeah, even though nothing happened, you just have to make out like, you're that guy. So stripes really do matter at that time, man. So that was, one of my first times, and one of my first, love incidents that I remember. It did happen before, and I think I gave you a story of the time when I was anxious and there was a girl that was into me back in school, so even younger me. And guess what? Nothing happened then, nothing happened here, and a lot more nothings followed. There was another girl after that, around 6-7 months or so, I do remember. So she was in a math class, and I was, interested in her, and all the other guys were interested as well, and all the other guys were interested in her as well. And for some reason, our connection just sparked. And out of the 7-8 other Somali guys in the class, and the other 10 Asian lads, and 2-3 other African guys, I was once again picked, and I had to perform as I usually do. So anxious me again, and this was the time when I had the anxiety and panic attacks sparked to another level. So this is the time where the panic attacks was first introduced to me. So bearing in mind, before that, 16 before that, I didn't have any panic attacks, stuff like that. I only had normal stage fright, and just the just overwhelming anxiety and just anxiousness, and just being shy overall, but still showing up. But anxiety is just having me on a headlock. But at this time, when I was with the other Somali girl, so the second sort of partner, whatever you want to call it, in college, I actually had the panic attacks at these times. So this is the second part of the story. I forgot to mention that. So yeah, so I was with her, we were talking, and I'll go get lunch with her as well. And I wasn't making too much movements with this one, because of course she's Somali, and me being Somali as well, a lot of the people are going to be saying things, so I wouldn't be able to handle that much pressure, and I didn't want a lot of the people talking about me in college, especially my older sister going there. And I would keep it a bit low-key, and at the same time not too low-key. So this girl was one of the girls that was getting the most attention in the entire college, and there's a reason for that. So we spoke, and we actually got close. And then a day came, around a week into our little chatting stage, where we decided to take things a bit more serious. well, she decided to take things a bit more serious. Me, having a panic attack and stuff, I was wrestling with more on my mind. College, I was starting to, become a bit more lazy as I was, not on purpose, but I was a bit more self-conscious, self-focused on myself, just thinking like, am I dying with all these panic attacks going on? And I was involved with the bad guys that were doing a lot of, the smoking, drugs and stuff like that. So this girl wanted to take things to the other level. One of the days she said, let's go to my house. And when I first heard that, I asked her like, who's there? She said nobody. And she was excited, and so was I. So we actually held hands. We left the college, of course. We held hands one of the alleyways. And, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was excited, but I was getting the little heart, like, a little rhythm was forming it. And then, I walked with her, and then for some reason, something happened. God, I always let myself down now that I think of it, man. And I was beating myself up for this when I was, right after that, at 16, 17, 18. Until 18, I couldn't forgive myself. Like, fucking terrible what was about to happen. Not in the sense as, something bad, but, something morally against and religiously against, stuff like that. But it didn't happen again. Your boy failed again, So it was sort of a moment or a pivoting point, because from then on, when it didn't happen, so I'll just give you a little more. So we were headed to the house, and something happened. I think her sister was on the way. So one of her sisters was literally going to college as we were walking like towards her house. And she was talking to her sister, and I was stood there, talking to the sister as well. So it was three of us. And the sister was actually my age. So this girl was 3 years older than me. And, something happened, and, change of plans. And I went back to college, and my nervous system sort of cooled down. And this time around, my boys were asking more questions because, we're all Somali, and they were saying like, did you do this, is that? And I told them like, yeah, relax. And then everyone would be clapping like, they're so fucking ridiculous. They'd be clapping, they're like, hey, I'm a boy. You know what guys do, man. But all of those guys were praying on her. Let me tell you that, they're all praying on her. But anyways, it was crazy, man. It was fun times. There was a learning curve. And soon after that, my love story, and, it just kept happening. So a few months down the line, a new girl, things like that. But I was wrestling with anxiety. And it's actually one of the reasons why I didn't actually, take things to another level or take things seriously and, just pursue love or romantic, adolescent relationship at that time more serious. So this is, 2 stories of back in the days. So me, Ali, 16-year-old Ali. So that's just 2 out of several stories at that time. A lot was going on. So I think I'm actually going to give you lot a story every now and then. So weekly, I might just throw in a story. And I'll try to make the story more fulfilling for you guys as well. So I'll actually break it down more. Reason why I'm not going in depth right now or being a bit more articulate in the sense as, describing more detail and just being an overall better speaker right now is because I just woke up from a quick nap and my mind is literally recalibrating, and there's several cars parked right here. It's actually a wedding going on, and I'm just glancing around. As you can see, the weather actually, temperatures dropped. So I am slightly shivering and my nervous system is recalibrating. But without any further ado, I'll end the vlog right here because YouTube won't let me upload it otherwise. So enjoy your day. I hope you enjoyed the stories. And if you're young out there, please take the advice I'm giving you from the stories you just heard. Take things slow and never go against your gut feelings. But anyways, take care guys and enjoy your days. Bye-bye.